Hey, how you doing? It's Clay Francisco here. And actually, I am just doing a video in the room again. I'm really gonna have to get some better lighting. Anyway, I wanted to do a book review because that's part of what authors do these days is share their opinions online, even though nobody probably cares. So what I just got done reading was Brent Weeks' The Night Angel series. The Shadows, Way of Shadows is the first book, and then a bunch of shadows and blades and stuff. Anyway, about a guy named Kylar Stern. Well, it becomes his name. But yeah, the Night Angel series and his super awesome Sword of Black Ooze. Not bad, actually. I had a good time with it. It was overall, I genuinely liked the way it went. Some of the characters were kind of interesting. Some of the personal relationships I thought were really, really good. He hit on some absolutely like just killer emotional notes every so often, but not for the faint of heart. I think there's a reason I haven't heard of this guy before, and it's probably because most people don't like as much raping and pillaging in their books. Lots of that. So if you're not about that, then this book might not be for you. So it was a little. There were some passages where I was like, really, dude? Ugh. But that's just his style. He's an equal opportunity rapist. It's not like, the men, women, whatever, doesn't matter, right? That's what bad guys do is kind of his thing, right? Where I guess that would be my complaint is the slight one-dimensionality in that all bad guys have the same kind of bent where they're all a thing he calls twists, right? Which is just slang for a psychopath or a sicko, right? But it seems like every bad guy in this is a twist, right? Every bad guy's got to be some kind of perv, right? Not just a megalomaniac, right? That's not good enough in this series, and so I guess I'm fine with just megalomania, right? I'm okay with just a good old fashioned Lex Luthor, right? I mean, he's cool, right? A totally relatable bad guy, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. The battle scenes are awesome. The way he blends the cultures together. Um, he's got these the Sasirai. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, the those people are kind of modeled after Japanese with the wakizashis and tantos and all these other the great swords, and then the way he describes their fighting styles is right, dancing crane moves to falling thunder and etc etc, and so those are really fun. How when certain characters are fighting, he describes it in those styles, right? And when characters who are used to fighting with, English broadswords or like the actual, two-handed, hand and a halves, right? That they lament that they can't just beat this guy down like they're used to because he's so fast, and of course he's got some magic on his side too, right? So etc. etc. Um, they do a really fun job of describing these hodgepodge armors and how cultures are really crammed together and stealing from each other in these really interesting ways. And so I like that. He does a really cool job with that. The way he describes his two different kind of magics is actually totally awesome, and I love what he's doing there. And I actually am doing it in one of the books I'm writing, coincidentally, right, where he has like this sort of God-given magic, right, which is based around spirituality and faith and this other stuff, and then he's got this stuff called the Veer, right, which is I don't know. It's based on tattoos. No, it's not. But it manifests as these like thorn tattoos and whatnot, and it's very much a stealing sort of thing. It's not. Yeah. It's dominance versus going with the flow, and so I like that. That's really cool. He's got some really awesome stuff. But it's really interesting where I just happened to, because she just released the books, a new book, Sarah J. Maas, right? And the Throne of Glass. And so I just read a few of her, just a smattering, because, I'm not really into that sort of stuff, but I'm curious, right? I gotta know. So I read 3 of her books, and Brent Weeks feels like the male version of her, or vice, however you want to do that, right? Where all of his characters kind of follow a lot of what you would expect from the man characters and the women characters, right? All the women are tiny and slight and right? And chuck, right? Onto the horse. We get away, right? And the men are all broad of shoulder and jaw. And hell, the dude's name is Kylar Stern. And so it's funny because I see Sarah J. Maas doing a lot of those same kinds of things, right? But I think hers are kind of more unabashedly romance novels, and to me, that's cool, right? If that's your genre, that's what you're doing. Come on, all your guys have to be broad-shouldered and beautiful, otherwise they're not all love interests, right? And so I guess that was interesting to me, right? Is that Brent Weeks's books definitely had a lot of the sex scene oriented stuff, sex oriented, but from that male perspective, right? As opposed to having all that sex oriented stuff from the female perspective, right? Anyway, it was really interesting for me. And while I did not enjoy really either one, that's not true. I enjoyed both of them ish, right? Where it was like, meh, I don't need to read any more of those, right? But they're really fun to see how, and it was just interesting that the universe unfolded in that way, that I would read one and then the other, and they were very feel like opposite sides of the bell-shaped curve to me, right? And so Brent Weeks, if you want my opinion, is the opposite of Sarah J. Maas. Take that as you will, right? And not in a bad way, right? Like in a man stuff, woman stuff kind of way, right? I know that sounds weird, but that's really how it felt to me. I'll get in trouble for that or whatever, but that's what it felt like. And but because of that, right, how I felt like they were both kind of almost like tropey gender opposites. They didn't resonate with me in either way, because one was tropey the one way, one was tropey the other way, and neither felt like the truth or really too relatable to me. I got to be honest. And there were so many things actually that I really genuinely liked about both of those series. I love and I'll actually should probably do a review about this. I love the little dragon rider, like the witch, the Iron Teeth chick, those badasses. Love that. Dragon Rider's a pern, but like evil. Cool. So anyway, I'll need to do a review on those because they're worth it. Because there's aspects of both of these series that I really, really enjoy. Right? That being said, they're polar opposites. Brent Weeks' books, the series, that trilogy, The Night Angel, it's got some good stuff in there. It's got some really good stuff. But if I'm being honest, it's a little hard to read for some of us folks. And secondly, the third book, about halfway through, it started to feel a little like he needed to wrap things up, and it was just kind of this character and that character, another here, another there, another here, another there, another here. and you weren't really sure how they got to these places and how everything went. And yeah, the pace is supposed to pick up at the end of a series, but it started to feel really flashy to me. Um, but that's just me, right? Um, Resolution was really good. Those last That last 10% though, he really tied it back together. And so I've got to give him that. That was, I mean, no spoilers or anything like that, right? I just have to say that the resolution was a very fun, yeah, good resolution. Don't want to say anything more. Go check it out if you've got the stomach for it. I know it's a weird first review, but it's what I'm reading, and so I might as well just do what I'm doing. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And I just finished it up. It was really, really interesting. Definitely inspirational. I'll take a lot of pieces from it because there's some really good stuff in there. I love the naming systems. You got the Caledorans and the Sasarai and all these other cultures and how, I mean, it's good. So yeah, even if you just get the cliff notes of it to just steal a bunch of his amazing ideas, it's worth a read for that for sure. So all right, have a good night, folks. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff if you like it, and hopefully I'll see you later. Bye.